Okay, so, oh wait, now we're on YouTube. So this is going to be a little weird. Hands are so important to doing anything in life, and when the use of your hands is limited, it can take away an awful lot of possibilities of things you can do. I had this problem, carpal tunnel syndrome. Here's my story of what I did about it, how it turned out, and how I'm using my hands today. So I guess the start of this story is I would wake up in the morning with very tingly and numb fingers. That would continue throughout the day, and by the end of the day, it was pretty much unbearable. So I went for a nerve conduction test at the advice of my doctor, and sure enough, found that I had carpal tunnel syndrome in both hands, both, as well as an ulnar nerve issue in the little finger on this hand, which emanates from your elbow, where the nerve goes through there. So we decided I needed surgery. Made me a little nervous, both hands at the same time. They do them 2 weeks apart, so it's not terrible. But I'm not going to say it's easy. My main goal was to regain use of my hands because it was starting to be painful, but was also nervous about taking that risk that something could go wrong and you could lose maybe some of the degree of use of one hand or the other or certain fingers. They've pretty much perfected the process nowadays. And I had a great surgeon and great physical therapist afterwards. The therapy isn't a necessity, but certainly gets you back your range of motion much quicker than without it. So I would recommend it. I've played guitar as a hobbyist for years, taught myself as a teenager, and been in a couple of bands off and on. But I was nervous about that. Am I going to be able to have the dexterity to relearn and be able to play guitar again? Among other things, I also ride a motorcycle, and that was getting really painful because that vibration on your hands, on the handlebars while you're riding, got to be pretty annoying to where I couldn't even ride. Recovery time for something like this is going to vary by each individual, but I was off work for a total of 9 weeks, which sounds like a lot, but it was almost just about perfect for me, and the surgeon kind of called that in advance with his estimate of how long it takes to get back to normal for what you do. If you've got a desk job or something, you could probably go back fairly quickly because you're not lifting things, moving things like I do for my work. But the 9 weeks seemed just about right. And when I went back, yeah, it was painful, but the physical therapy helped with that and got me back to normal much quicker. And now it's been 7 months on, and I've dabbled a little bit with the guitar. And believe me, it wasn't easy at first because the base of your thumb is very sore. Obviously your wrist where they make the incisions, and just getting that motion back to the muscle memory that you haven't used in so long takes a little while, but it comes back quicker than you think, and I'm able to do all the things that I could do before the surgery, only with no pain or irritation, and the numbness and tingling completely gone. I got lucky. What they told me was that this isn't going to reverse you to 100%, from when you were 20 years old or something, but it will at least arrest the progress of the syndrome and not get any worse. So if you're in a fairly bad place, it's going to maybe be the same but not get worse. But again, I got lucky, I think, because I got it early enough with my symptoms that I jumped on it right away, and it seems to have completely gotten rid of all the tingling. At first, what you can do to help the situation is maybe wait for a cicada to stop buzzing. At first, what you can do is wear a wrist guard overnight. That helped a lot, so that your hands stay straight in that neutral position, because bending them obviously is going to put pressure on those nerves that go through that tunnel. So the wrist guards help keep, and another one right here. I don't even know if you can see what's left of that tiny incision on each wrist, and then the elbow, just a little scar up here. But they go in this way. It's kind of like a metal tube inside that carpal tunnel band that goes around there where everything goes through, and cut with a tiny scalpel with a slot in that tube. Is it cartilage? Tendon. They cut the carpal tunnel tendon from inside of it and kind of let it open up so that there's no pressure on those nerves that run through there. Now, when they do this, it really irritates everything from basically here to here, at least it did for me, and that gets very sore. But again, physical therapy, if you stick to it, it helps get rid of that pain a lot quicker and gives you your motion back. So to sum up, carpal tunnel surgery worked for me. There are some other methods of dealing with it short of surgery, but may or may not reverse the problem. So I decided to just go ahead and go under the knife and get it over with. And again, doing them 2 weeks apart at least gives you a little bit of motion with one hand 2 weeks after they did the first, so that you're not completely incapacitated with two hands you can't use, because that would be big trouble. So returning to playing guitar was really important, because when this first sprang up, I was pretty nervous that I might not be able to do that again if I don't get this problem taken care of, or anything else. Use tools, again, ride the motorcycle, have the dexterity to do just everyday processes. It was getting difficult to even tie my shoes. So it was really worth it for me. It wasn't cheap, because any surgery is going to be expensive, liability insurance being what it is. Lucky enough to have insurance that covered a lot of it. A lot, again, came down to me, my deductible. But I think, at least for me, not doing it would have been disastrous, because it would have only progressed and gotten worse. So I went ahead and scheduled it. This was in January, and just before that, right around Christmas time, I discovered a double hernia. But that's another story. Oh, what an experience that is. Thanks for sticking with me. Like, subscribe, and share. I'd appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next video.